2 minutes. Okay, we're going to get started right now. Less than 30 seconds. All right, welcome to the Circle of Grace One. I'm your host, Chief Principal Teacher and Founder, Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey. This is the Circle of Grace One live with myself, Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey. Today is Thursday, July the 20th, 2017, and we shall commence with another segment of the art of manifesting your heart's desires with the last two fields of awareness, field number 9 and field of awareness number 10. Before we get started, I'd like to open up with a decree, which is a universal decree that I use at all times, through divine power and by divine grace. I mean, all that have an opportunity to see the program live, listen to it live, see it later in the archives on my YouTube channel for Circle of Grace One. May you be blessed by the seeds that you shall receive. May they help you to unlock the doors to greater awareness, mindfulness, greater compassion, infinite levels of grace in your life, and so that you can be able to bless others in your life with who you are. And so shall it be. Amen. So this is a weekly Thursday show. Soon we'll be starting back also adding on another broadcasting format through Blog Talk Radio. Perhaps by Thursday of next week, I'll be on live at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, which is 11 a.m. Eastern, for a 60-minute program. I will probably have a co-host assisting me in that show because I know it's going to get quite busy with a lot of people calling in. I want to make sure I'm able to field a lot of questions, be it on numerology, dream analysis, the field of manifesting in your life, upgrading yourself spiritually so that you can unlock doors on this physical plane for yourself. Also, in that program, it's a revision of my show over a year and a half ago. It was and will return to the Thor Ministry Radio Network, and everybody there is excited for Decree and It Shall Be to be back again. And when I did it a year and a half ago, I was on for like 2 hours from 11 a.m. Eastern to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and sometimes 3 hours, just nonstop, bringing out information for people. But this time around, it'll be a minimum at least of 1 hour, and if we go over time, it'll be 90 minutes. So this is our opportunity to operate this show and see to it that all shall be blessed by the contents. Now, one of the things I'll be utilizing more often when I'm on the blog Talk Radio every Wednesday, I'm introducing teachings from my revised book here. It is now a paperback book, a book that I wrote 13 years ago, and it was called Dancing in the Light of Divine Grace by myself, Francis E. Revels-Bey, and we'll be covering a lot of information. So you'll be getting this information 3 times a week, every Thursday in a live video stream here on the Zoom platform, as well as twice on Blog Talk Radio, Wednesday afternoon at 4 p.m. Mountain, which is 6 p.m. Eastern, for 30 minutes, and then coming back on the next morning at 9 a.m. Mountain, which is 11 a.m. Eastern, with Decree and It Shall Be, which is how all this came to be. So today's program is a continuation, actually a completion of the Art of Manifesting Your Heart's Desires, which is chapter number 19 in my book. And we had covered already the various fields of awareness. The most important one was to understand field of awareness number 1, where you have to overcome your doubts, your fears, your illusions that you experience yourself, that maybe loved ones, family members, friends, neighbors may also experience at the same time. And sometimes we carry a lot of emotional baggage and mental baggage through worry and anxiety and stress. And so fear pops up. And I talked about how the late Jose Silva, who was the founder of the Silva Mind Method, talked about fear as an acronym for false expectations appearing real. That means expecting something that hasn't materialized yet in your life. A lot of New Age teachers, as far back as Neville Goddard and Joseph Murphy and Dr. Norman Vincent Van Peel, and so many others, have brought to the forefront great spiritual teachings for people to understand that it's all about what you're doing now in the present moment, and that you can't live in the past, but neither can you live in the future, because the future has not come yet. Then there was the late Dr. Frederick J. Eichenkrota, better known as Reverend Ike, who also taught those same teachings in another way, where he was saying it's best to have health first, then you can gain the wealth and have love and prosperity in your life and money, and so that you can do the things that you desire to do, so you can uplift yourself, uplift loved ones, uplift the planet. So all these teachings I have been, blessed to receive, even studied some of the works of Dr. Michael Beckwith, who runs the International Agape Spiritual Center out in Culver City, California, just outside of Los Angeles. Many people have these teachings, and I started sharing these teachings as far back as 2003, before I realized that all the other people were sharing in these teachings and doing them. So one of the things we want to step into today is the 9th field of awareness. Now, everything leading up to this point was about synchronicity and remembering your true self. That's what we talked about last week, remembering that you're a part of the universal God mind, and that is your co-creator, because God is in you, and all about affirming that I am one with God, God's one with me. And then the 8th field of awareness was embracing the universal mind, and this to understand that you are a part of a greater, more infinite picture, far greater than yourself. We have what is called, some call today, a unified energy field, and that's all the energies radiating up through your chakras. And most of the time we deal with the 7 chakras, but there are 5 other chakras. And there's different ways that they are taught. They're taught the first 7 in the front, and the other 5 from the center of your spine going up into the base of your spine. From the center of your heart going up into the base of your skull are 5 more chakras. So that gives you 12. But those chakras represent dimensions or planes of existence, and they're also at the same time realms of consciousness. And I taught last night on my show what a realm is. REALM. RE is the prefix that means to repeat something. RE also means to elevate, to repeat and then elevate yourself. Alm is an offering. So you are offering unto yourself. You're giving back this knowledge, this wisdom, this understanding to yourself so that you can graduate on higher levels. And when you're doing that, you're able to offer freely onto the world. You see, onto the face of the world, you can give of yourself and receive. So once you understand that, and you get that in your consciousness, you begin, of course, to expand. So the 9th field of awareness is expect nothing less than success. Now, this is important, that you expect nothing less than success. Now, I'm going to read you the chapter because it's very, very short, you see, both of them. And I want you to hear the words. And these are things that I've learned from others, things that from my first spiritual teacher, Mother Grace, my own mother, taught these things. So now it goes like this. If you remember to embrace the divine energy and strive to embrace the consciousness of the divine mind, then you are on the road to successful manifestation. It says, remember, if you remember. Now, the word remember is important. You see that RE in there again. Then you see REM, like rapid eye movement. So that means you can get this information through a dream state. Then you see a Hebraic word, MEM, M-E-M, and that's the root to memory. Okay, so MEM is the womb, the matrix, the womb. So if you could go into the womb and then bring everything back in your consciousness, that's what a member is. A member belongs to what? A society. A member belongs to the body. You have 5 members on your physical body, or called appendages. You got 2 arms, you got 2 legs, got a neck, and attached to your neck is a head, right? You got 9 major holes in your body, right? You got your mouth, your 2 nostrils, your 2 ears, your anus, and then the front part of your body. So you've got all of this going for you, right? And you're receiving. Then you got the pores in your skin receiving light and as energy, information being taken into your body, and then it being released through your body. So you've got all of these necessary points where you are remembering to embrace the divine energy that's flowing in and out of you, and then the consciousness of the mind. Let yourself take on the youthfulness of a child directed by the divine mind. Now, that means a child of innocence doesn't expect any harm to come to him or her. The divine child is protected. Thus, you are the child, and the ideas that are housed, created, and generated by the divine mind. The divine universal God mind never fails. Therefore, neither can you. We've all have been children before. We all have parents who are either still sharing the earthly plane with us, or they have transitioned. Or you might have a surrogate mom and dad because perhaps one of your parents left your life, exited your life, either through transition, which we call death, or maybe for some other reasons. Maybe your parents got divorced or separated, or maybe one of them felt they couldn't be a good parent, so they abandon the family. But there is this universal aspect with yourself, the God presence in you and around you, that can allow you to have that opportunity to move on and be strengthened by the energy of spirit itself. So if you see yourself as a child, so when we say we're a child of God, it means we are an infinite part. We are this streaming consciousness of the divine mind, which is a field of energy, which has a higher flow of intelligence within it, that houses and creates every language you've ever heard and languages you've never heard. symbolic languages, right? Sound, light, color. So all these things are there, magnetism, electricity. You're a child of all of that. And this physical expression is just an outward expression of the energy called spirit. So the divine mind, the God mind, the energy, the spirit mind, which is infinite, houses all beings in all complexities, in all simplicities, in all countenances, which is the auric field. And every creature of the divine can think within its own concept, has its own capacity to think, generate, and communicate. We see it in nature. You see it with bees. You see it with ants. You see it with other animals of this kingdom, queendom, right? Those who can crawl on the belly with the 4 legs or without legs. Those who can run on 4 legs. Those who have wings and 2 legs. These creatures have a thought process and it functions off their instinct. We have the same, just that in our species, our society of species, we learn to communicate through our mouth. But we're just now, after 30 and 40 years, 50 years, just now catching up to the extrasensory perceptions and the instincts that we have naturally. So every child, when it's dealing with who it is, it feels itself as innocent. Innocent is meaning purity. Purity in your consciousness. The divine child is protected. Why? Because it has a parent. Your mother and father, it was their job to raise you so you can learn how to eat, learn how to take care of yourself, learn how to speak, right? Sending you off to school so a teacher, another adult can teach you how to speak, how to comprehend words, how to add, how to subtract. But in essence, how to become self-sufficient to a degree, and how to work within a societal frame, a community of people who share some of the same desires that you do. So here, once you acquire these things, knowing that your parents are here to protect you and help you preserve yourself so that you can lift off and be on your own. Every living creature does that. Birds teach the baby birds how to fly. Tigers teach their cubs. Lions teach their cubs how to hunt and how to survive. All groups do that. All the species do that. And they don't have a book, huh? We're the only ones that have books. Animals don't have a book. Ants don't have a book, yet they see in how to do things. And it's so geometrically put together, it's astonishing to see how they build. So we might say everything in that sense is a child of God, is a divine being. And we say here that the divine universal God mind never fails. That means it is constantly producing that which is perfect. But because of our limited thinking, we may look at something as being asymmetrical, out of balance. But according to nature, that which we assume is out of balance is truly in balance. That which we think is not perfect, it is perfect in the moment that it is created. It has a place. Just because we're unaware of where that place is, that energy thing that was created has a place in the universal structure of the divine mind within nature itself. So it can never fail. We put the pressure on ourselves for being successful or I fail. So therefore, you can never fail. The divine universal mind never fails, neither can you. Why? You are a part of that. You're an integral part. Now, here's another thing. Remember the 4th field of awareness that I mentioned, if you were following, and you can look it up on in the archives. The 4th field awareness is the 5 points. These 5 points are the inner tools. Inner tools. They're tools that you use, that you implement through the thought and feeling process. These inner tools and inner workings are the process of achieving and manifesting your heart's desires. They are what, where, why, when, and how. Now, this is important because these act as teams of bodies. See, when a team prepares the bodies and the minds of its players, then the players have a much better opportunity to be successful. So you have to know how to work the 5 questions. The 5 questions are: what do you want? What do you desire? Then the next question is where? Where do you want this thing to come into your life? The third is why. Then when? When do you want all of this? And then how? But what we discovered in the last couple of weeks is that the first 3 are what you really need to focus on. But when you really look at it, is the first question and the third question. Because sometimes you can say to yourself, well, this is what I want. It could be a physical thing, a physical material thing that you feel that you want. Okay? And then you say, where is this thing? Once you get it, where are you going to place it? Or where does it need to be for you? But what we found out in the last couple of weeks is the third question: why? Why do you want this thing, this event? Because once you really understand the why actually gives a purpose to your what, and it gives a purpose to your where. So if you really focused on like what you want and then flip the switch and go to why, explore why. Through exploration, a very deep exploration of your why or your whys, you will actually make your what clearer. You might say, I want $100,000, but the why will now give the purpose to why you want that. Then you can decide, well, I want to have it in the bank. That's the where. Or I want it in my wallet or my purse, or I want to save it up and put it in my home. Now you can define the others because you're giving the what a purpose through why, an exact purpose. Then you can go into the when factor. But the when factor could happen now, which is what the goal of all metaphysical teachings are, is to realize that you're putting something into motion now. You're generating the energy for now. Well, the late Reverend Ike used to say, why pray for your pie in the sky by and by, meaning going down the road and hoping for it to come to you in the future when it's something that you need right now. So you need to focus the energy like a magnifying glass into the now moment. That's your when. It's in the now. And what is how? Well, how is like who? How is the driving force that's now going to make your purpose a valid purpose. It's going to make your now point even more valid, your where point triply valued, and it's going to then make the what really come into place. But that how is built on the fundamental truth of divine law itself, divine universal law, the God mind. That's what brings it into play. So all great spiritual teachings and metaphysical teachings always say, just get familiar with what you are striving to get, where you want to have it, why you want to have it, when you want to have it. When all of that is in place, when all of that is in place in your mind, then the how takes care of all the points in between. Now, the great Neville Goddard said, live from the end. The great Reverend Ike said the same thing, but in another way. He said, live it now. See the end result now. Both of them said the same thing, the feeling, how you feel about what you are trying to get and why do you want it and where and when. When you have the emotional feeling behind it, the emotional feeling helps to draw it in to you. Because why? Through your emotions, you get excited. So now you start pulling on it, pulling on the fibers, the energetic fibers to pull it closer to yourself. You start doing all the things to keep your mind open so you're not dealing with limitations or restrictions. You're pulling on it so that your hands are open, your eyes are open so that you can recognize and see things around yourself and that you see how it can come to you. In other words, the possibilities. Some people call it unlimited possibilities, other people call it uncommon possibilities. Uncommon possibilities means exactly what it means. It's not common, it's not the norm when it comes. So when you are allowing yourself, the team players are your mind and your heart. You allow them to play together for a much better opportunity to be successful. That alone is building up your character. It develops what? Patience, self-worth, faith, and trust in each other. Team has to trust each other. That's the trust. You have to trust, like a football player. The quarterback has to trust that the center is going to hike the ball on the right count. The linemen are trusting the coach. Everybody's trusting the coach that the play is going to work. But if they work the play, then the halfbacks and the fullbacks can rely on the offensive line. Quarterback can rely on the offensive line to keep the defense from what? Penetrating, so that the quarterback can complete the play. Or the runners could run through the gaping holes that are created by the linemen. Everybody's trusting each other because they know the form, they know the plan. So the players are a part of what? A positive collective unit sharing the same goals. So the what, where, why, when, and how are the team players of your mind and your heart. They are a positive collective unit that are going to lead you to the same goals. Now, once you understand that you can be led into the same goals, the next thing applies. You and the divine mind are a collective unit sharing the same goals of manifestation. The divine mind embraces you as well, brings you back into yourself. Now, the thoughts that we give out to the universe, into the ethers, they have to travel through and begin to do what? Collect like-minded energy, like-minded feelings, so that what? It builds up a momentum. If you're trying to uh, showcase a particular talent or skill or to sell a product, you have to find the right audience in which you can market the product to, or which you could showcase your skills to. Usually, you're looking for those who think the same way. Why? Because they know you and they can therefore be your cheerleader. They can help build your process up. They can help build up your connections, all right? And therefore, you meet more people along the way. Now, of course, your audience will be sprinkled with people who could be the naysayers who don't believe. But it's your job not to make them believe, it's just show them. You could show what you can do, and it's clear. Either the person will receive it or they will reject it. But here it says in the end, expect nothing less than success. That means you're not going to be limited by someone else's thinking of how you should be. You're not going to be restricted by people who may have had difficulty exploring and using their techniques, because everybody can see a road in front of them, but not everybody's going to travel the road straight. Some people say, well, when I stepped out onto the road, I found a ditch and I had to walk around too many ditches. And then the holes in the road got bigger. And then it rained. Then I stopped. Well, the one who's going to win the race is really not having a race. They're just getting through the course, right? They're going to go around some puddles, and some puddles they may have to walk through. They may have to take a break to give the body a rest. But the whole goal is to keep moving forward. So it's the same in your life. This book talks about moving forward at your own pace and not the pace of others. Moving forward because you have the innate desire to achieve. Moving forward because you can. Moving forward because you trust yourself. Moving forward because you have hope about yourself moving forward because you have the faith. And the word faith is the word fiat. Fiat is a divine spark. If you got the spark inside of you, that spark will what? Grow, and it'll get larger. It is up to you to stay the course for yourself. So it is the same here. When you realize this, it brings you back into yourself, back to the reality of who you are. And in that process, you learn to develop what? A strong will, a strong focus that is directed, channeled, and guided by the divine mind, which means in the old spiritualist churches, it was said this way: I'm going to leave it up to God, but I'm going to do my part. I'm going to learn how to speak clearly. I'm going to practice speaking clearly. I'm going to practice talking in front of different audiences. I'm going to then build my confidence. And then after I'm comfortable talking to my friends, then I'm going to invite some people I don't even know. I'm going to start talking to them. Well, you're building your confidence. You have to continue to build your confidence. As you continue to build your confidence, then you get stronger and you begin to trust yourself. Then once you get comfortable, see, it's all about getting comfortable to some degree. Now, not to get too comfortable. If you get too comfortable, then they call it complacency. That means you just figure it's still going to drop in your lap because you get comfortable. The whole idea is to be a little bit on edge. Every great performer, comedian, actor, actress, singer, they'll all tell you the same things. They get the butterflies, but they get the upset, nervous stomach. Before they go on stage, they got to run to the restroom, okay? They may go there twice, okay? They may go there a third time. They feel like they got to drink a lot of water. They got to jump up and down. They got to crack some jokes. They've got to relax, but they're still nervous. When they get out on that stage, it's just them and the audience. Or if they have a band, it's them and the band and the audience. But if you're a solo performer, it's just you and the audience. Why? Because you're coming here to realize that you're in the spotlight of the divine. The light is on you, which means the light is protecting you. You just got to open yourself up and deliver. Once you can do that, that's where you're expected. That's why you can channel. It says you got to still your mind. You've got to be quiet. From deep within yourself, you will hear and receive messages giving you exact direction. Now that's key. We call that the still small voice. When you go within and it's absolute silence, that still small voice is really the God energy called your soul, the Holy Spirit, which is God in you, speaking from deep inside of you. You will hear and receive messages. It means there might be some messages that come to you where there were thoughts that you had before that you never used, or they will be brand new thoughts that you don't even know if they're going to work, but you receive them. So those are like your first impressions. And they're doing what? They're giving you exact direction. I mean, you're sensing it and then it's delivering you. But it's doing it in subtle, energetic forms that will descend into your higher self, which is another way of saying your soul, and then down into you. Now, there's subtle, energetic forms, which meaning thoughts and feelings. And they're subtle because you can barely feel them. But what is unique about them, they either get you excited, you get all tingly all over your body, you start to sweat, the hairs rise up on your skin, or you just get absolute quiet. And in that absolute quiet space, you just know that all will be well. So you know, you drop your fears. So once you know that you know, and once you experience repeatedly the acts and demonstrations of faith, once you know that you know, and once you begin to experience over and over the acts or actions and demonstrations of faith evident in your life, meaning it's there, you can see it, it's tangible, you can remember it, you will do what? Truly expect nothing less than success at all times. expect nothing less than success. So this energy that you're creating, which is in your life, is going to pull you up. It's going to pull you up out of yourself so that you can stay open, so that you can burst through limitations and restrictions, not necessarily from other people, just from your own thought processes, your own feelings. Remember, the first limitations and restrictions are your own doubts, illusions, and fears, your false expectations. Some people, and all of us, including myself, sometimes we will experience talking our way out of success before success happens, talking our way out of an opportunity before it's fully in grasp for ourselves, not allowing ourselves to experience, but we've put so much fear in place based on past experiences. And some experiences are, that we say, in your genes, like inherited, genetically. You've come from a family of thinking a certain way. So when you come from a family that thinks you're not supposed to explore, then you get to a point because you don't know of anyone else who explored a particular path. So you think, well, this is as far as we get, and that's all. But then someone has to break the mold. Someone has to take the step. When someone takes the step, that really unlocks the door. If one person gets through, that's like you hear very poor families. No one has ever had a chance to finish grade school, go to high school, and then go to college. And then you find out someone is the first in their family to go. That means that person unlocked the door. Now, if they do it, someone else in the family can do it. And someone else after that can do it. Why? Because now they know the possibilities. They didn't just have to go to grade school and drop out. They didn't just have to go to high school and drop out. They now can what? Go on to college and experience. Then finally someone graduates from college, and now they can move into the next field of awareness. So that's what this is all about, is knowing that you can move forward. Now, to cap this off, after you know that you develop patience and self-worth, you really trust and love yourself even more so you give yourself more of an opportunity in knowing that you could pull on all these different fields of awareness. The 10th field of awareness is new visions and new horizons. And the reason why I call it that, because we all have to have a vision. Vision means seeing the particles of light that create an image in your mind, being able to see it and then see it from within and feel it from within and then watch it materialize externally. This is manifesting in you. It's already there in the ethers. You're just going to make it real, materialize it into your physical world. But you have to give it a purpose. You can have the vision, but it's got to have a horizon that it's got to work off of. Okay, it's got to what? It's got to take you above and beyond. So in this book, I said, according to Life is Levi, he was the author of a book entitled The Aquarian Gospel of Jesus the Christ. He talks about the two elders, the seen elder masters. One was the man, one was a woman. The man's name is Elihu, and the woman was Salome. They were teaching the mothers of Jesus and John in their sacred robes. They were sharing the ancient Essene teachings with these two mothers, Mary and Elizabeth. Now, Mary and Elizabeth, when you go into it, they're cousins. Okay, so that makes their sons cousins to each other. And being in the same family, they were also members of the Essenes. So they were preparing them for an immediate future. Immediate future means when their sons are born. Mary and Elizabeth were told that they were thrice blessed, meaning blessed 3 times over, as they were chosen to teach and instill these spiritual teachings that they had been getting all the time, from the times of their pregnancy through and beyond the son's birth, that these were the sons of the light, S-O-N-S, sons of the light. But in order for these sons of the light to be the light, in other words, before they could talk about the light and say how much they understand the light, in capital letters, they must have the light before they can receive and be the light. Now, when you think of it, they must have the light before they can receive and be the light. What that actually means is we must have knowledge and understanding of how to embrace the light of the divine mind, to inhale upon the consciousness and state of a universal mind. We must realize that we are a part of this universal God mind. Then we will be light, forever clearly manifesting in our consciousness, our bodies, our souls, our minds, and in our spirit. So they must first have it before they could be it, before they can express it. In other words, they must understand where it is with themselves. So they spent 18 years together all over the world, coming back to the Egyptian pyramids and studying all of this science, while ingraining it in themselves, but helping themselves to what? Bring it back. When you bring something back into yourself, that means you're willing to remember that you learned this and it's embedded in your genetic DNA from long ago. That's why every book you can read today, at some point, is going to cause you to remember. Every movie that you see today that has a spiritual message in it, at some point, is going to trigger inside of you a remembrance. You're doing a group meditation, shamanic quest. At some point, the quest that you're on, the dreams that you have, the visions that you see are going to turn a light switch on and you're going to remember. Then you're able to walk the path. How can someone be in service and be given a high rank? Well, did they get the high rank? Did they earn it based on what they learned up to that point? No. This statement, they must have it before they can be it. So the first couple of grades, being a private and going all the way to the top, before you can get to be a captain, you got to master all that other stuff first. But you still don't know what a captain is until you get awarded the rank. Now you start learning what it is to be a captain. You know for sure the captain is not the private, but you know the captain has to salute captains, and the captain has to salute higher officers, and the captain has to salute officers that are beneath him or her. So you still have to rely on what you have learned, but stay open enough to learn new duties and responsibilities. It is the same here. It is your job to recognize that you are a child of the universe. It is your job, it is your responsibility to be happy or to make yourself happy. It is your responsibility to learn whatever you can learn that's going to assist you. It's your responsibility to not only learn it, but try to execute it. When you execute something, it means when you start demonstrating it and you start being consistent in the acts and the demonstrations of your faith in it, then you become a sage. You become this mystic. You become this wise person. You become this magical mind. But you had to put it into motion. You had to take what you learned and exercise it. But you also had to be willing, what, to learn something new or look at it from a completely different angle. If you're expecting nothing less than success, that also means that you can't live in a state of limited thinking and restrictive movement. You must expand. Let me say that again. You cannot, in any way possible, expect nothing less than success if you're not going to overcome limited thinking and physical restrictions. So you must push past. It's the same thing. The road is ahead of you. Some people are given the same road. Some people are given different roads, but it's how they choose to get through. You don't always have to blast through the hole in the wall. Maybe you climb over it. Maybe you go around it. The whole idea is to make it your own and show up on the other side. Of course, we're going to have some scars, mentally and emotionally. In life, you can't avoid, but you can't keep looking backwards. You still have to move forwards. You can't look side to side all the time, but be aware of what's around you. Be aware of your environment. Develop greater discernment. Develop greater discretion. Develop greater skills. But learn to be happy about who you are becoming. Be happy maybe who you were in the past, even if it wasn't a great past, but you lived through it. Have gratitude, move forward, have more gratitude that you get a better opportunity. Not everybody is meant to be the general. So you got to know the lane that you're in. But if you can master the lane that you're in, you'll find out that you've got some greater gems that maybe a general will never receive. So you have to begin to explore yourself. When you can explore yourself, you find that you have greater possibilities. As we said earlier, uncommon possibilities. So once you do this and find this light forever clearly manifesting in our consciousness, our bodies, see, everything is going to be affected. So you have to now know that meditation and prayer can't function really without each other. They're co-partners. So you need both to help you achieve and manifest. They're like the radio and the antenna. Prayer is the radio. You're going up and down the dial. Meditation allows you to stick the antenna up as high as you can. So what? So that you can receive higher frequencies, higher radio waves. Sometimes in meditation, you can use the meditation and create a visualization. Sometimes you can use the meditation and ride on sound, chant, mantras, music, crystal bowls, Tibetan bowls, tuning forks, vocal sounds, drums. Other times it may just be a silent meditation. Prayer the same way. It could be a verbal prayer or a silent prayer. But in actuality, the prayer becomes a meditation, and the meditation is a prayer. Sooner or later, they're on the same page. When they're on the same page, something unique happens. More often, because you're paying attention to the most subtlest of energetic vibrations, sometimes you might miss it by falling asleep. But guess what? You got it subliminally. Just because you fell asleep means you didn't get it. There's a part of you that needed to fall asleep so that the ego mind could be laid to rest at the same time, so that the mental mind could open itself up, so that the emotional part of you can open itself up. See, the two strongest pillars or planes are the mental and the emotional. If there's a block on the mental, the emotional will not pick it up. If the mental is clear but the emotions are blocked, then what's coming into the spirit, into the mental, it'll never reach the physical. What will happen in any event, the physical will begin to starve. The physical plane, the physical body, because it needs the nutrients coming out of the emotional plane and the mental plane and the spiritual plane. The physical body contains the spiritual, the emotional, and the mental, as well as itself, as well as the etheric vibrations. So if the physical is not balanced enough, then all the others won't properly fall into place. You can still function, but then you have to amp your vibration up on a completely different level. So balance is necessary. You might think of ethers as spirit. Ether as spirit. Ether as spirit. Why? Because it's an unseen thing. You can see the force of your thoughts by the images that are created, and then see the images come in front of you. You could feel your emotions or sense them, and if they get heavy enough, then your body begins to feel them, and the emotions make an imprint on the body. Well, the emotions make an imprint on the body, the thoughts make an imprint on the body, and the body receives it where? In the fascia, where all the chi is flowing, receives it in the organs, receives it in the muscles. The muscles contract at a certain time. This is why we taught one time before, earlier this year. If you experience, let's say, a car accident, your body will remember that car accident for years to come. Your body, your muscles recorded everything. Your cells left an imprint upon the other cells. The nervous system left an imprint. The brain left its imprint. The heart left its imprint. And the imprint's in your hands, and it's in your feet, arms, and legs, into your torso, into your back. And every year, your body remembers all these other patterns of energies that led it to be placed in harm's way. So this is why you might get certain aches and pains, or you might want to go out and you're being told not to go out, even though you may know within yourself that you will be fine, but your physical body lost its trust in you and it's saying, no, I want to stay home. And it'll send signals out to the brain. Many of us have had many signals. We want to go somewhere, we misplace our keys. You want to go somewhere, you misplace your ID, which is your wallet. You want to go somewhere, but you're sluggish. You don't feel like getting up on time to leave. Then you change your mind. Then you find out later, oh, the event was canceled. So you weren't supposed to be there. Body knew. It remembers. So we're about dancing in the light of divine grace. It's about finding ways to attune yourself to the higher part of you, not the lower part. The lower part has to come in alignment and in attunement and at one with the higher source of you. When those two, which are polar opposites, come together and link into each other and create a balance with each other, then you'll see a greater image of your wholeness. You start seeing perfection on many different levels. You start realizing that there are these different little elements that are going on around you all the time that's allowing you to be truly in alignment with your environment and your surroundings. You start realizing synchronicity exists. You start realizing happiness begins with you. You start realizing that your path to spiritual freedom belongs to you, how you're going to go about setting it up. So you have all of these things, all of these fields of awareness have to come together. And you have to have where everything appears to be on. See, life has a divine order to it. When you realize that, people say it all the time. They want to be in the flow. You want to go with the flow. That means you want to be with the divine source itself. Remember that divine grace is a blessing. And we are receiving through divine power, the divine mind under divine grace. What does that mean? That means you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be the wealthiest person. You don't have to think you're a poor person. When it's your time and everything is intricately aligned to each other, and you don't even have to be aware of it, the grace that's inside of you will materialize. See, living the art of manifesting your heart's desires through these 10 fields of awareness, it is a lifelong process. This is not something that you do overnight, just like athletes prepare their bodies. Think of the people who prepare for the Olympics, Summer Olympics, Winter Olympics. They're preparing and then they participate and then they go in various fields of events leading up to 4 years from now to be in the Olympics, be it winter or summer. Excuse me, they just didn't prepare at that moment they were going to make the team. They've been leading up to that point. Why? Because they can set records even up to that point. And even if they don't get to the Summer Olympics, they're still setting records, setting standards. It's all about how high you want to go, how much you want to widen your path. This is all important. Even in that book called Acquiring Gospel of Jesus the Christ, one of the teachings of Sananda back then was saying, man's God today is not his God tomorrow. meaning the standard that you live by today may not necessarily be your standard tomorrow, because your basic level of understanding is going to change. Every time you learn something new, it either expands your awareness or it contracts your awareness. And that's a law in itself. Everything you learn is either going to expand you or contract you. Either you can use it or you don't use it. But usually something that you cannot use right away, you don't throw it away. You just, as we say, leave it on the back burner. Put it behind you just a tad so that you can see the direction that you need to go in. So you're consistently sometimes seeking outside yourself when you need to go within. Everything takes place from within. Meeting your ancestors from within. Meeting your ascended masters from within. Meeting your master spirit guides happens inside of your consciousness. You cannot hide from your true self once you rediscover it. See, that's a good keynote. Once you know who you are, you might want to slow down the process, but you are really who you are. You're this true self, this true being. So you may not understand every aspect of it, but you know that you exist on a higher plateau. You know that you receive on a higher plateau. You know that you move on a higher plateau. You know that you could see. So let's put you in a state of meditation. Let's, as they say, live the end first. Let's gather our emotions with something that you're striving. It could be seen for yourself or for someone else. And as you begin to tune into this greater awareness, you know that it already is true, and it already is truth for you. And as you know that it is already truth for you, you can receive it totally. It is meant for you. Therefore, you can embrace it. It is blessed for you because you are blessing it. You are now accepting it in gratitude. It is a blessing upon you and for you. So let us go into the what that is for you. But remember, the true seed is the why, which is the purpose. So let your spiritual mind and body speak gently to you all of the whys that the what is desired. Feed it your unconditional love and gratitude. Feed it all that is of you. Feel it deep inside of you, like a mother carrying a child. Let it rest deeply inside of you, knowing that what you are seeking already exists. It is embedded in the trillions of cells, and in those cells are the genetic codes of your DNA, divine nature in action because it's already activated. Let your body jump with joy and exhilaration. Let the emotions move you from the inside out, move you from your memory. Let yourself receive. Let yourself know that you are receiving. Let whatever colors come to you, come to you. your guides, your ancestors, ascended ones are with you. Angels are with you. Star beings are with you, all sharing this unified feel of oneness with you. You see yourself open up into your greater self, more infinite self, where you realize you are not this physical form anymore. You're taking on the clothing of your divine source. So every word you speak is colorful and light. Light enters your ears. Light enters your eyes and goes down into your body. You're viewing yourself as you should from the inside out. And now you're riding the waves of great joy, contentment and happiness, peace and harmony, beauty, wisdom, knowledge. The mystical side of you is real. The magical side of you is real. It is your divinity. My grace is your grace. Thank you for listening and observing today's program. If you'd like to get a copy of Dancing in the Light of Divine Grace, email me, Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey, at iam.circleofgrace1@yahoo.com or iam.circlegrace1@gmail.com. And you could get this book, find out inquiries of prices and postage and how you can get your copy. Thank you so much. Hopefully next Thursday we'll be on our other program, Decree and It Shall Be. I believe I might have a co-host on that show with me. I won't know until next week. I'm planning to be on at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time for about 1 hour on Blog Talk Radio with the Thor Ministry Radio Network. Decree and It Shall Be. Every Wednesday, you're welcome to join me at Circle Grace One in the Age of Remembrance on Blog Talk Radio. Channel is the Age of Remembrance. That's 4 p.m. every Wednesday for 30 minutes Mountain Standard Time, which is 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or come here every Thursday on the Zoom platform and watch a live video stream of the Circle of Grace One teachings at 5 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. Eastern. Well, thank you so much for your time. My grace is your grace. Until next time, remember that divine grace is a blessing as we are alive and well in the age of remembrance. See you soon.